Utah Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Tim Haslam. I'm really excited for this episode today as I speak with Denver Outlaws defenseman Garrett Michaeli. Michaeli went to Alta and Corner Canyon before playing collegiately at Rutgers. We talk about growing up playing lacrosse in Utah, his time at Rutgers, and now playing professional lacrosse. I also break down the MLL weekend and have an update from the PLL in the newsletter. Here's my interview with Garrett Michaeli.
All right, Garrett, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me. Just here in Annapolis.
Yeah, in Annapolis, getting ready for the MLL season here. Starts on, it starts on Saturday for you guys?
Yeah, Saturday at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern against the Hammerheads.
All right, should be a good matchup. We'll talk a lot of MLL later. Tell us, though, how did you get started playing lacrosse?
Honestly, it all started back in when I was 7 years old. I saw one of my neighbors playing lacrosse in his front yard. I was intrigued with what it was. Walked over there, asked what it was. They talked to me about it. And then ever since that day I played with a deep hole, I kind of just fell in love with the sport, the concept of how fast it is. And then from then on, I just carried throughout.
Yeah, but, I remember. Yeah, go ahead.
I really originally wasn't going to play lacrosse. I was a big hockey and football guy growing up, so I was kind of devoted to those two sports. And then once lacrosse started getting more popular and I realized the potential that you could do with lacrosse, I decided to kind of switch my focus to football and lacrosse instead of hockey. And then that's when I kind of just kept following this journey where it's taking me today.
Yeah, you started out playing your high school lacrosse at Alta, and then Corner Canyon came along. You transferred over there, ended up winning a state championship. Talk about, kind of the high school lacrosse experience, and is there anything you'd do the same? Is there things that you would do different if you could go back?
I think the path that I went on was pretty ideal for me. I started off as a short stick, so growing up all the way to probably 8th grade, I was playing short stick, understanding the game, offense and stuff. And then about 8th grade is when one of my former teammates, Garrett Bullett's dad, put a D-stick in my hand and said, "Hey, we're losing this game. Go out there and see what you can do." And ever since then, I started playing with it. And then freshman year in high school, me and 3 other kids, Cole Parkinson, Harry Wattops, and Garrett Bullett, we all made the varsity team at Alta, which was huge. And that's when I kind of started to shine, I guess is what you'd say. But with Alta and Corner Canyon, both those schools are dear to my heart. I nothing but respect for both those programs. I liked Alta a lot. Coach Davis was my coach there with my father and Tommy. It was just fun. He taught us a lot. And then Corner Canyon came, and we kind of, the 4 kids that made the freshman team in high school in Alta decided that we were going to go over to Corner Canyon and help them win a state championship there, which we did. So it worked out pretty well. It couldn't have been better.
Yeah, I think I look back at the Alta Corner Canyon and those early Corner Canyon teams kind of set the tone for the program as a whole. And so I think, obviously your foundation with your teammates and growing that program, starting that program is kind of where they led today. I think if we had a full season, we would have seen them definitely in the championship game this season. And so that's definitely, a product of your guys' hard work for sure. Talk about your recruiting experience. The story that I've heard Coach Davis tell is that Coach Breck, the Rutgers head coach, called Coach Davis and was looking at Garrett Bullett. And Coach Davis said, "Hey, I've got another Garrett you need to see too."
Yeah, so I was never a big recruiting guy. I wasn't like a 5-star recruit. I wasn't the top dog. By all means, I was kind of quiet. And my friend Garrett Bullett, he was getting recruited to Maryland, all these top schools, and Rutgers decided to reach out to Coach Davis, as he said. And it was, I want to say, it wasn't playoff game yet in Corner Canyon, but it was close. And he wanted to log on and watch Garrett Bullett play. And that's when Coach Davis said, "Hey, Garrett Bullett's looking over at Maryland, but I have another deep hole that is just as good." And that's when he kind of looked at me, and that's how we started talking to Rutgers. And then when G-Bowl and I went to Maryland for West Coast Stars, and Coach Breck invited him to just come see the Rutgers campus, even though he was talking to Maryland, all that, and asked if I could tag along, and I was more than happy to go. It was probably one of the better decisions that him and I made to go and check out Rutgers and see what it had to offer. And then it kind of unfolded from there, where I committed my junior year. I didn't really look at any other D1 schools, really. I kind of fell in love with Rutgers at first sight. So that's how that kind of played out. But I enjoyed the whole recruiting process, from playing in the tournaments in California to the East Coast. It was just great to see all the exposure, all the talent that's out there. It was cool.
Yeah, and two other teammates from Corner Canyon that ended up joining you at Rutgers, obviously Casey Rose and Zach Frankowiak. Similar things for them. Were they kind of, looking at different schools, but then once the two Garretts sort of decided to go to Rutgers, were they on board as well?
It's funny you said that, because Casey Rose wasn't originally going to go to Rutgers. He was going to go to Colorado Boulder and kind of live the skiing life, because he's a big skier, really good at it. And it was after Coach Brecht watched one of our playoff games. Zach and Casey both had really good games. I think Casey had 7 goals. Zach won every face-off, added a couple points to it, 3 or 4. And that night, I remember we were at Casey Rose's house, and Coach Brecht called him and was super curious, wanted him to come out right away, get a visit. And Casey I personally don't think Casey had any aspirations to play college D1 until he went and took the visit. And then for Zach Frankowiak, he was committed to Drexel, and when Coach Brecht reached out to him, kind of moved some things around, got him interested in Rutgers, and then obviously the help of Jubal and I, we kind of got those guys to come there. But it was a time of our lives. It was so fun at Rutgers with all those guys in Utah. Made it kind of homey. Didn't really get homesick with those 4 guys.
Yeah, tell us what Rutgers is like. What's it like as a school? What's it like the surrounding cities?
Rutgers is a gem, a hidden gem, I think, personally. It's not the area around it is not gorgeous. Jersey's a beautiful state, but New Brunswick part is not the most beautiful. But Rutgers University has done a really good job with putting great facilities up, having the supporting staff around. I wouldn't have traded it for the world. People have mixed feelings with New Jersey. I think Rutgers is one of the best places I could have gone. The staff was super supportive in academics, with extracurriculars outside of lacrosse. And for the coaching staff, Coach Breck has done an amazing job with the alumni, with recruiting, with setting up that new building that's going in. They took good care of us. Traveling was always taken care of. It was just it was an environment that you wanted to be in. It was a hungry environment. These kids, none of the kids besides a handful of them weren't big names, so we were all just trying to make a name for ourselves and go out there and win some games for Rutgers and put them on the map.
Looking back at your college experience, you played 52 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, always fun for the Deeples. Your senior year, you had 48 ground balls and 20 caused turnovers. When you look back at that experience, what are some of the games that stood out to you?
One of the first games that sticks out to me was freshman year. Growing up in Utah, you always look up to the big name schools, Hopkins, Maryland, Syracuse. And so freshman year to play Hopkins twice, one at Rutgers, one at Johns Hopkins, and to come out victorious was a very big accomplishment for us. It was kind of like a little kid dream coming true to play that. And then another 2 games that stuck out to me very well was Penn State, I want to say in 2016 or 2017, when Jules Henningberg had one of the greatest games I've seen. And then the last game would have been Syracuse at home. Those 3 games really made my college career. I think it was fun to play against them, to see the talent, to see it all up close and personal. It was awesome.
Yeah, as like you said, as a kid growing up in Utah, you kind of see there's name brand schools for sure, and I guess that probably applies to everywhere, not just Utah. But definitely some cool experiences for you in beating Hopkins and getting them, to play Syracuse and all those. That's awesome. Tell me, you're in your senior year. You're about to graduate. What decisions were going through your head, in terms of playing lacrosse at the next level?
Senior year at Rutgers, I would like any other college students. Well, I shouldn't say any other, but most college students, you kind of don't know what's going on. You're looking for a job. You're trying to find post-grad opportunities, and you're also wondering if this is the last time you play lacrosse. For me, I didn't get drafted on the first college draft, so I kind of was like, I will play MLL, but if I don't get picked up, I'm not going to be too upset over it. And then once the Bayhawks picked me up in the supplemental draft, I kind of was like, you know what, I'm not done playing lacrosse yet. I still got a little bit more time in me. And I was just kind of focused and dialed in on that. And then for post that same year, my teammate Kyle Pless and I got an opportunity to go overseas and play for Nottingham University, lacrosse in England, and pursue a master's degree, which we did. So between that season and to now, we've just kind of been focusing on our own game, working with each other. Basically it. It's been hectic though, with how last season was a normal season to now, just with all the COVID stuff. It's been definitely different, but unforgettable, that's for sure.
Sure. Talk about what you're looking forward to, this upcoming week playing with the Outlaws.
First off, I'm just ready to start playing lacrosse again. It's been since March since I've had like a legit game, as well as many other guys. So I think we're all just ready to go after it, play lacrosse. It's going to be hectic at first with the new rules, the changes, but we're just eager to start playing as a team, see what we're about, and chase after a championship like everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, no matter what league, what level, it's always good to be playing lacrosse. What are some of your, I guess, what are you doing outside of lacrosse these days?
Right now, since I had to come back I wasn't originally supposed to come back from England until May to June-ish, and then we kind of planned on the MLL for them, but then the COVID happened. So once I came back in March, I've kind of just been training on my own. I'm fortunate enough to have a gym in my basement where I've been able to work out. I've just been doing that and working as an electrician with my brother, so it hasn't been too bad. Some vacations here and there, but most of all pretty on my own when it comes to training, understanding film, kind of getting the grasp of everything. Yeah.
Awesome. And what are you hoping to do sort of after, this probably week kind of feels probably like a milestone, once the week's, said and done, what do you hope to be doing moving forward?
I would love to still play if the opportunity presents itself, and I also want to coach more. We did some coaching. We coached some 7th and 8th graders, Garrett, Zach Skoviak, and I, and it was super, super fun. And I think after all this is said and done, I'd like to go back to Utah, help grow the game still, help teach, coach, kind of just stay involved in the lacrosse community as much as I can to help spread the game, because, as you know, it's still not there yet, but it's getting there. And I think Utah lacks a little bit of experience from coaching staffs. Like, we're starting to get a wave of coaching, but I think there still needs to be some more done. So I hope I can come back, and Bubba Fairman, Garrett Bullitt, Zach, Casey Rose, we can all come back and start helping the game grow in Utah a little bit more, as well as additional coaches.
Yeah, that would be a scary coaching staff for sure.
Yeah, there's talks about it, but we've still got some business outside of it to do. So we'll see.
Sure. Yeah, but, maybe 5-10 years down the road, you guys could be a solid force. For high school lacrosse.
Definitely not out of the picture, but I think all of us have a couple more years of traveling with lacrosse and playing lacrosse that we're still ready for.
Sure. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to mention?
Kind of just I want to talk about like recruiting a little bit and the whole recruiting process. Personally for me, like I said earlier, I was not a big recruit coming in. When I got recruited to Rutgers, there were not a lot of yays. There were a lot of confusion why a kid from Utah is coming all the way to New Jersey to play lacrosse. So just to like fellow kids out there that want to play lacrosse at the next level, like don't give up. There's great lacrosse players from club all the way to D1. So just because someone's not getting picked up at the D1 level, it doesn't mean you're a good lacrosse player. Some people are just meant for D2 and D3 lacrosse, and they don't want the kind of schedule and strictness of D1. But from being in the MLL and being around the sport so long, there's good athletes and good lacrosse players at any level of the sport. So for anyone who wants to get recruited, don't be discouraged if you're not getting the dream school you wanted. Just go out there and try your hardest, and I promise you it's going to prevail in the end.
All right, those are wise words of advice. We appreciate that. Thanks for joining us today, Garrett, and go Outlaws.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, appreciate it. Go Outlaws.